Reggie Aloysius Miller in studio for Turner and CBS coverage of the NCAA Final Four. He'll be there championship Saturday and Monday. Greg Gumbel, Steve Smith, and Seth Davis. Final Four. Hey, bud.
Theodore, why?
What?
I mean, hold up. Why are you trying to trap and goat my new favorite college basketball player into saying things? You are not right, Theodore. Why are you baiting this young man?
Every day's a Super Bowl, Reg.
Okay, I get it, but very uncomfortable exchange.
Okay,
from my man Deck. I mean,
what's going to be more uncomfortable, that or playing Kentucky?
Oh, definitely playing Kentucky, but he was. I should say they were absolutely instructed not to tell people that they got a private screening to the movie Entourage. And here you are trying to give up the final scene when no one has seen the movie.
Have you seen the movie?
Of course not.
Oh, well, why did they and you didn't?
Look, they're on their way to potentially winning an NCAA championship.
And you're a Hall of Famer.
Have you seen it?
No.
Okay. Aren't you an Emmy award-winning journalist? Don't you have a Golden Globe right in front of your desk? Or what is that that's sitting on your desk? Emmy?
I don't know. Yeah, I think it's one of those.
Don't see. Here you go again. Don't try to play all coy with me, sir. I'm just saying, my new favorite college basketball player, Sam Decker, it was real uncomfortable because you were talking about his hair.
His hair looked good.
And if he was declaring.
Okay.
But if you are him, you got to go. Hey, Deck, if you're listening to this, the time is now.
Can you compare his game to somebody in the NBA who's not white?
Yes. I would say Thaddeus Young, maybe.
Okay.
A little bit. Can handle the basketball, shoot from three. But why does he not have to be white?
I don't know, because they're all because it's always that comparison. I thought you were going to go Keith Van Horn.
No, I was going to say Andre Kirilenko. Right? You like that better, don't you?
Well, Kirilenko.
You like that better, don't you?
I think Decker's a better offensive player. Kirilenko was a great all-around player, great defender.
So is Deck. I think what gets overshadowed is because of his offense. He is so long. Like Kirilenko was long at 6'9".
Yeah.
Decker is long at 6'9".
Whose future would you rather have, Kaminsky or Decker?
Decker. I think Decker will have the longer and more. Look, they're both great players, great young players. Deck does a lot of things great for you. Can play out on the wing. I told you he can handle the basketball. We saw 5 or 6 from deep, so he can shoot the deep ball. Yeah. I just think he has a. See, Kaminsky's going to be banging against those big guys.
Yeah, but there's no great big men.
True, but you still got to be down there banging.
Yeah, but he can handle. He's got great footwork.
Look, all the Wisconsin players have great footwork. I mean, they're a system team. And it's interesting when you were talking to him, and he's like, look, Bo doesn't have any. We don't have any chalkboard, no X's and O's.
No.
We're just going to do what we do better than you. I love that.
Their chance against Kentucky is what?
I will say this. If they want to beat Kentucky, because Notre Dame gave everyone the blueprint, you can attack the bigs, and you can attack the paint. They won the paint points versus Kentucky. You've got to be able, when they switch those pick and rolls, when Cauley Stein and Towns and Dakari, all those guys are guarding the point guards, and you attack the bigs, you've got to be able to finish. Everyone thinks you've got to be able to knock down threes, which is great, but you've got to be able to get by the bigs and finish in the paint. You do that, that's going to open up those threes. And in my opinion, Nigel Hayes has to play huge. He has not played great up to this point. And Decker and Kaminsky have been fantastic, but Nigel Hayes is the one guy with that athleticism, along with Decker, that can really, really force these Kentucky guys into a tough night at both ends of the floor. Nigel Hayes has to play great.
The best pro prospect in the Final Four is who?
I would say Towns. Best hands, best footwork. Really sees the floor, can score with his back to the basket. In my opinion, he should be the overall number one pick. And then I would put Sam Decker in there, probably second. Certainly Kaminsky.
Okafor
would be in there. Yeah, those probably be my top four.
Yeah, Towns had a great game over the weekend, but the previous game, and granted, it was West Virginia. He played 13 minutes, but like there are times when I'm watching and you don't know he's on the floor, and I don't know if it's because it's Kentucky. And do we expect too much because they are freshmen? That he was there for 2 years, would it be different? I
think it would be different if he was there for 2 years. I think we get jaded because when we look at Kentucky basketball, and they always have the super freshmen, Anthony Davis and so on, Michael Kidd, Gilchrist, and these guys are like phenoms. And I put Towns in that category. And we're expecting Kentucky to do superhuman things.
Because they're at Kentucky, we expect them to be better.
We expect so much from them. I think what we saw versus Notre Dame and really versus Wisconsin, because they have bigs, and either Michigan State or Duke, whoever gets there, they have pretty good bigs, serviceable bigs. Obviously, Okafor could be a potential number one pick. I think we'll see really what Karl Towns, because I think he's going to get more minutes. Look, Cal had to play Karl Towns. They usually play 9, 10 players deep at Kentucky. Cal is kind of shortened his rotation because it's money time, and he's going with the guys he can trust.
Yep. Hey, can we take a break and come back? And
sure.
I want to ask you about Chris Mullen, maybe coaching St. John. Looks like he's going to, and Kevin Durant with his foot injury. You nervous about Kevin Durant's future here, Reg?
A little bit. And I think we spoke about this last week. I just feel, and this is my personal opinion, you're never quite the same, once they go in and open you up. And now I think will be the third time that they've done some type of procedure on this foot. Now, again, he's young, 25 or 26? They're going to shut him down for 4 to 6 months. I don't know exactly what a bone graft and that procedure is all about, but
it doesn't sound good.
It doesn't sound good. No, it really doesn't. And I think what he has going in his favor, number one, he is young. Number two, he doesn't carry a lot of weight on him. This isn't a guy that's, like LeBron, 250 plus. He runs 6'9", 6'10", and 220, 225. So I hope, he comes back the same, but I just feel, is he going to be the same Kevin Durant MVP? I hope so. I really do, because I love his game and I love everything he stands for. But, man, to have this going on the same foot, I guess you could kind of turn to Steph Curry. He had foot issues, a few years back, and, he's back to an MVP form. So I guess that's the good thing as well, too. But, gosh, I don't know, Dan. This is tough.
Speaking of Steph Curry, they get to 60 wins, but I still don't get the feeling people are all in on Golden State come playoff time.
No, they're not. And we talked about, oh, my God, I hope they don't see OKC. Well, I think now they want to see OKC because Durant won't be there. But, look, this team, at both ends of the floor, offensively and defensively, they're the best in the association. And people need to start looking at the numbers, because what I love about what Steve has done, they can play a number of different ways. You want to get in a track meet with them, they'll run you and shoot you out of the gym. Oh, you want to play half court? Okay, well, our defense will take over. They have interchangeable parts. Guys have bought into their roles. To have Andre Iguodala, an all-star, coming off the bench now, and buying into his role, they can play big, they can play small with Harrison Barnes at the 4. These guys, they're locked and loaded, and they're dialed in. And Steve will have them focused. That championship experience, 5 rings as a player, playing under legendary coaches like Phil Jackson and Popovich, they're ready to go.
Chris Mullen, head coach at St. John's?
If, in fact, this is true, that's wonderful news. I'm serious. Because for so many years, the back of the bus is where you really do most of your coaching. Mark Jackson, I knew, was going to be a fabulous coach, because in the back of the bus, he would break, before we would even watch film, he broke down the game. And a lot of players do that, and Chris was one of those guys. And if you're a young recruit and you've got a Hall of Famer like Chris Mullen coming into your living room, and I know that's the toughest part is recruiting, and at times it can be a grind, but if I'm a 17, 18-year-old kid from New York City or from the tri-state area, and in walks Chris Mullen, who is a legend and God in that area for St. John's, I mean, that would be awesome.
Could you coach UCLA right now?
Absolutely not. And people always ask, why can't I coach? I get perturbed when guys miss free throws. Simple free throws, I get perturbed. So I have no patience, and that's what you need to be a coach. And Mark, Chris Mullen, and other guys, Fred Hoiberg, all these guys had patience. I don't have the patience.
But do you think the guy who wasn't the marquee player, the star, makes a better coach because he knows what it's like to kind of be complimentary player, or you're going to have bad nights, or you had to struggle to get to this point, whereas Jordan would probably not be a very good coach. Magic.
Well, case in point, Magic Johnson.
Yes.
You know, I don't think he had the patience because he saw the game through the lens of one of the 3 or 4 best players in the world. Well, Steve Kerr sees the game through the 985th best player ever to play the game lens. So I think he recognized that. Same with Phil Jackson. Even though Phil Jackson was on teams that won championship, he wasn't the marquee player on that Knicks team.
No, he was a role player.
He was a role player.
Yeah.
And, I guess they do see the game a little bit differently. And, look, Chris Mullen was the man at St. John's and was the man throughout his NBA career, but he wasn't on the level of Magic Johnson. I just think it's a great thing. If, in fact, that is true, he's going back to coach.
Yeah, I don't know if anybody's ever done a study on that, on what makes for a successful coach, and does it help that you're not that perfectionist, that you don't accept anything other than winning. I don't think Kobe would be a good coach.
Personally, I just don't think I would have the patience because I would want to do things the way I did things. I expected you to practice and perform at a certain level, and you've got to take into account not everyone has your same practice habits. Not everyone wants to come 3.5, 4 hours early and watch tape and get up shots. Everyone has their own routine, and as a captain, you buy into that because everyone's different. But when you're trying to manage 12 to 15 young kids in college or 12 to 15 men at the pro level, it's a little bit different. So personally, that's why I couldn't coach. Mark, being a point guard, that's what he did his whole career, is manage people.
Well, would you rather coach in the NBA or high school or college?
It would have to be the pro level because players in the college level, God bless them, but less than 1% are going on to the next level. And these are at major programs. And there's a lot of guys that fundamentals are out the windows. And it's frustrating when you watch some college games when, you look at Wisconsin, and we talked about everyone being fundamentally sound. Well, there's other programs I saw throughout this tournament that are playing straight rucker
AAU.
AAU, and it kind of drives me crazy because I was taught at UCLA to be fundamentally sound, really going back to Riverside Poly, to be fundamentally sound, which led to UCLA being fundamentally sound and being drafted by Jack Ramsey, and that's what he built his whole legendary coaching career on, is being fundamentally sound.
Who's the best player you ever played against who never played in the NBA?
I would say there was a couple. And speaking of St. John's, and I don't know if he played in the league, but they had a player of the year during our era, and he was a year or two older than me. Do you remember Walter Berry?
Yes. The truth.
The truth. I mean, could this guy do anything he wanted on the floor, down low?
He played a little in the NBA, didn't he? 2 or 3 years?
I never played against him because he was a year or two ahead of me because Mark was my senior. I think he was 2 years ahead of me. But playing against him, I had never seen a guy with those kind of skills down low. Now, he was an undersized, would you say, power forward?
Yeah.
And obviously the guys at that time at power forward in the NBA were all like 6'10", 235, 240. But I had never seen a guy with those kind of skills. Left-hander, could finish around the rim, could finish over bigs.
Yeah.
But personally, I never played against him in the pros.
What about, there's always a playground dude that you just go, like he can embarrass you. but he could never play on a team. You never had any of those moments?
Off the top of my head, no. I'm sure there are some guys that I played on the playground and be like, dude, you need to be playing at the next level. But
they can't.
Well, that's all they know.
Yes. But that's the guy that
all they know is how to, the crossover dribble,
yes.
which they travel, and it wouldn't fly. Now it looks good, and you clear the stands with the guy on the mic saying, "Oh my God, he just shut it down! Everyone go home!" Yes, that looks great and it's pretty, but it's not.
Did you ever play in one of those games where the guy's got the microphone?
No. I wish I could have gone to New York and played in Rucker. I really do. I really, really do.
Well, those and one games, you always got the guy with the microphone. And
now, we don't have – it's not legendary, obviously, like Rucker. But, Venice, California, you have guys out there, surfer dudes with long hairs and ponytails playing on Venice Beach. It's not the same as Rucker. And I went out there a couple of times and laughed. I'm like, come on now. Be serious. Because now I've seen Rucker, and those dudes can play. Yeah, I love to see those guys play.
Yeah. But
they come out west and play in Venice. They'd be like, are you kidding me? Really?
They got grown men in Rutgers Park. Because I've been on the courts at Venice Beach.
And you laugh, right? You're like, I can make a living out here.
Well, you got the guy who is waiting. It's almost like the person who goes to karaoke waiting for Simon Cowell to show up. You got dudes who are going, I'm going to break you down, and then I'm going to break you down again. I go, dude, you just embarrassed me. Shoot the jumper.
Thank you.
But he wants to beat you. It's like when Iverson did that to Jordan. He crossed him once, and he crossed him again.
And then kind of looked at Mike. And then looked at Mike and said, are you going to catch up yet? No? Okay, well, I'll shoot the jumper. That's what's classic about that move. God bless MJ. But it was the crossover once, the crossover twice. He hesitated, looked at Michael, like, oh, wait a minute, I just shook Michael Jordan. Are you going to catch up? No? Okay, well, I'll just shoot the jumper.
So you'll be in New York, huh?
I'll be in Indianapolis. You're talking about for the Final Four?
Oh, yeah, Final Four. There you go. Oh,
yes.
Okay.
I'll be in Indiana.
Right.
I'm going back to Indiana.
You'll be singing John Cougar Mellencamp songs?
Indiana's where I go. Yeah. Don't you like Cougs?
I love John Cougar Mellencamp. Do you ever meet John Cougar Mellencamp?
I was on stage with John Cougar Mellencamp. Does he like to be called John Cougar Mellencamp or just John Mellencamp?
He probably just John.
I think it's just John. Let's just go with John.
Wait, were you singing?
He pulled me on stage.
Oh, God.
To sing a song. Yeah, I know. I went. Yeah.
Little Pink Houses, or what? Do you remember what you sang?
I can't remember what the song was. It's one of his famous ones.
Is it on YouTube, Paulie?
Oh, no, this is before YouTube.
We'll find
this is before people being able to. This is before all that. Thank God. I had overalls on and Tim's. It was a bad look.
Oh, no.
It was a bad look, Theodore.
Yeah.
Oh.
What, Paulie?
Dan, since we can't find the video and we don't want to disappoint our fans and listeners, I wonder how it sounded when Reggie was singing the Mellencamp song.
Well, you won't hear that.
Oh, you won't?
Look, by the way, I'm not Sam Decker, and you're not going to bait me into doing stupid things or giving up information.
No,
okay?
I would never do that.
Okay.
I would never do that.
My hair looks good, bald. I don't put gel products. Well, yeah, I do put gel products in it. Just
got a little small town there, Seton. You got any music there?
Yeah, come on. Hey, put it on. I'll tell you what song it was.
Do you remember what song it was?
Not really.
But you'll sing Michael Jackson.
Because Michael Jackson is my favorite entertainer. Mellencamp is in the top 10 of my favorites just because he's a hometown boy.
Well, you got Mike Jackson. Number one, I don't even think you have a close number two with Mike Jackson, do you?
Prince.
Oh. Prince
is my number two. Marvin.
Oh, yeah, Marvin Gaye. Can't go wrong with that.
Mm-hmm. Sam Cooke.
No John Cougar Mellencamp?
My computer worked a little fast.
See, you guys probably can't play him because you don't have the rights. Way to go, Mellencamp. Make sure Theodore and the Danettes don't have rights to your music.
Yeah, it's probably a good thing because then we would be singing along with it. Maybe it's a smart move. Safe travels as always, Reg. Thanks for joining us, bub.
Theodore and my Danettes, Paulie, Seton, Fritzy, McLovin. Hey, where are the glasses, bro? Get the glasses. I love my Danettes.
Thanks, Reg.